Hi, this is Steve and Ryan. We're back again for the playoffs round two for Fantasy 15. We're your source for fantasy football. It's a semifinals edition. So I had a bye for round one for both of my teams. I think Ryan, you said you did too. So we put out the poster. You're giving me some crap about it, and guess what? I had to put out a TikTok at least about it, and have a good time with it. But hopefully, a lot of you were able to also get into your fantasy football playoffs into round two, and we're here to help you get into your championship game. So give us a shout if you're already following us on X, YouTube. After this, it gets uploaded to Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We appreciate all you guys. But if you have questions, go ahead, hit us up in the comments. We're going to answer all your start questions throughout this entire podcast. And again, we're here. So ask away. We're going to try to help you best we can. So, Ryan, how we doing?
Doing good. Unfortunately, the one league I didn't have a buy-in, I did lose, so not too excited about that. But I also started Baker Mayfield over Trevor Lawrence,
Okay.
which was painful to see because Trevor Lawrence had perhaps one of the best games, if not the best game any quarterback has ever had in fantasy, with 6 touchdowns.
You know, he did have a great week. And let's just take a look at last week and our fantasy freaks. So last week we had, like you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence went off. He was 20 for 32 for 330 yards. He had 5 touchdowns. Crazy,
Crazy.
right? And then he also had 51 yards rushing with another rushing touchdown. So just a crazy game for the Jaguars because at running back, Travis Etienne went off as well. Now, he didn't have a significant running day, but he was good with the 3 receptions that he got to go.
Mhm.
All 3 of them went for touchdowns. And then, of course, we all know on Thursday Night Football, Kyle Pitts absolutely went off. He had one of the best tight end games ever, and I think it might have been the best tight end game ever as far as fantasy football goes.
It's
But
close, and then
11
McBride
receptions.
came back and delivered an amazing game too.
Yeah, he got close as well. But like depending on what league scoring you had, I saw like 45.6 points for Kyle Pitts, which is amazing. 11 receptions, 166 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown also had, and we figured that the Rams game was going to be a significant scoring game, and he had 13 receptions, 164 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So a huge game for Amon-Ra St. Brown as well.
Yep.
Any thoughts on these players, Ryan?
I mean, Pitts was kind of like a without Drake London in the lineup and Kirk Cousins slinging the rock. Anytime Cousins is playing Tampa, you should just start whoever his number one is going to be.
Yeah, it's I tell you what, I mean, it's pretty amazing when we take a look at the different fantasy freaks that we had this week. You look at Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts. At least those 3 are
Mhm.
not like people you would typically suspect to be, even in a top 5, top 7 even,
Mhm.
at their position in most cases, and these guys just absolutely went off. Now, Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well lately, but, you know, it it is something. Can we do it 2 weeks in a row? And that's something we're gonna talk about. Amon-Ra St. Brown, we know he has the potential, to do something, but again, he was questionable the week prior with an injury. Obviously, he was very healthy, this last week, so,
It's worth
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
noting. Sorry, not to interrupt. It's
Oh,
worth
you're good.
noting that Pitts and ETN are both free agents after this year.
Yeah. In that one game for Kyle Pitts, he's going to be able to point to that and say, um, his agent might be able to say, "Hey, look at my potential. Look what I'm able to do when you throw to me and you get me the ball."
Mhm.
So I think that's what his agent will probably take that. Um, but yeah, we'll just have to see if he's able to replicate any sort of semblance of that type of game going forward. But now, week 16, we have to talk about it because it's a thing. Uh, we have what we call the ultimate lineup. So every week, Ryan and I, we snake draft, if you will, different positions. And our format to it is we have one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, a kicker, and a defense. And we do it with half PPR. So before we even show you our charts, we like to do our top 15. That way, Ryan and I aren't getting an even bigger edge, even though we kind of know at this point which way the other individual is thinking. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into last week's uh, ultimate lineup to see how we did. So last week, I really thought the way that it started off, especially that Ryan, you were going to be able to take me down this week.
I
And
mean, I
let's hear
still
it.
I'm
Get it
calling
all out.
erroneous. It's some under the table stuff going on here. Someone's getting paid off.
Get it all out. 152.12 to 144.30. Honestly, this was definitely one where I thought I was going to go down. Gibbs did not have a good game for me. And then at the same time, Harold Fannin Jr., he got 14 targets this last week, which is amazing. He was able to bring Hall in half of those, but no touchdowns. Only I think he had 43 or 47 yards is what he had this last week. But those were really my two weak spots this week. Were those two individuals? My kicker did okay, but those were my two weak spots. I mean, really, Puka Nakua and Nico Collins having good games with Bijan Robinson, and of course, my defense helped buoy my team. But you had some impressive players that really went off, and I'll let you talk about that. Obviously, we can see the stats.
Yeah, well, I mean, most leagues, if you have a kicker still, Jason Myers would have more than 18 points because almost every league has bonus points for 50-yard field goals and so on. 40, 50-yard field goals, 60-yard field goals. So um kind of got shafted there. But then Justin Jefferson really just kind of crushed the whole team with I mean, he gets so many targets. He dropped a touchdown. One touchdown was called back on a penalty, and then another ball he had on his fingertips that was a deep pass that would have been a big gain. So that one kind of hurt. Other than that, I mean, everyone was pretty solid. I don't know. You just have a very favorable defensive scoring and unfavorable kicker scoring. So
I, I
I
I
got
feel
shafted.
I feel like we play by the same scoring, but
Hmm.
the one that I will say though, Derrick Henry, he has 100 yards rushing, and somehow he didn't make it into the end zone. I think that was the one that
Yeah.
possibly. I mean, I know Justin Jefferson that hurt, but Derrick Henry had a good game.
Yeah.
He
I
just
mean,
didn't get the rock in the end zone.
Saquon too.
Yeah, I mean Saquon too. I think that he run, he rushed really well. I think he had did he have
Well, they had the
114?
ball like down inside the 5, and I don't know, they didn't give it to him.
And Derrick Henry, he doesn't really catch the ball out of the backfield. So again, that also hurts a little bit. But I mean, he had a good rushing game. So I mean, he was right
Hmm.
on the cusp of really just kind of breaking out and having a blow up game. So that definitely could have went either way. Now, being that we're going into week 16, we got probably 2 more weeks of doing this.
Hmm.
Um, the way that we do it is the individual that lost that week gets the first pick. So Ryan, you get to take
Go
a
ahead.
look and take that first shot.
I'm not gonna make it complicated. I'm just gonna go with. It's hard because they look so bad. You know what? I'm gonna take Jameer Gibbs
Okay.
against Pittsburgh. It's kind of a must-win for Detroit.
You know what? I really like that pick. That's a good one. It's seemingly whenever he has a down week, he comes back the very next week with just a monster. So that's not a bad pick at all. if we're looking at the trends that we've seen lately with Jameer, um, you're probably going to get a winner, and I'm probably going to be sad face that he can never. Every time I've drafted Jameer Gibbs, he has not went off for me.
It's all right. You'll find some defense that gets a shutout and add an extra bunch of points.
I like the way that you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to have to take a look at mine. All right, well, being that you went Jameer Gibbs, I just don't know if I can let you do it. I'm going to go ahead and go Puka Nakua.
All right.
Had a monster week last week, and he didn't get into the end zone, but he did get several targets, and I really like his matchup this week.
No, yeah, he had tons of yards. I don't love the matchup against Seattle this week.
Well, Devontae Adams possibly questionable, so that
Yeah.
could force even more targets to Puka than normal.
Yeah.
That's just the way that I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. All right.
And again,
All
as
right.
you
I'm
guys
gonna
are listening to us, make sure that you're getting those questions ready for Ryan and I. And once we get through the ultimate lineup, we're going to start rolling into the charts and then into your guys' questions as well.
I'm gonna go to the bird game and take Bijan Robinson against the Cardinals.
That was a steal that you just got there. And I probably messed up by going Nakua first. Because you just stole, spoiler alert, my number one running back.
I mean, it's the Cardinals. They're just not very good. They're 3-11. And I mean, not that Atlanta's great either, but they do have one of the best running backs in the NFL. Drake London's still out. After the week that Kyle Pitts had, they're definitely going to be trying everything they can to stop him. Should open up some rushing lanes and especially the passing game for Bijan.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, you've went running back, back to back. Let me go with Jamar Chase.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I feel like there's some really favorable wide receiver matchups this week. So I think there's quite a big handful of guys that could have some big weeks, wide
I
receiver
agree.
wise. Having said that, and the fact that you've already taken two receivers, I'm comfortable holding off, and I'll go Trey McBride.
You did it. You did.
I mean, it's just he's the number one tight end. He gets a billion targets a game. He's a machine out there. He's easily the number one tight end.
That was a great pick.
You got to grab him when he's there.
That was a great snipe. I can't hate. That was good.
Hey, I mean,
Trey McBride just comes in and absolutely snipes me with that one.
Yeah.
Well, since you have done that, I gotta go Devon A-Chain then. I can't let you get my top three running backs.
That it's exactly where I was going if you didn't take him too.
That would have really.
I was kind of hoping you'd be like, okay, he's got two running backs.
No.
That
would have really hurt me. That would have really hurt me.
Yeah.
I got to get one of those.
Man. That would have been tough because I don't know where you go after. I mean, I do know where you go after that, but I don't love it. Okay. Let's go with what's crazy? I can't say that. I can't even say it. I just got to do it. Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Now have my number one quarterback again.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is about quarterback this week is there's just so many teams that are kind of out of it,
Hmm.
and like I don't know how hard they're going to be playing. And then Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear. It's not just last week. Like the last like 5 games, he's been playing absolutely outstanding football. But they got a juggernaut this week. They played
They do.
Denver, so I hate that. And
They do.
then I think the next best. Well, I won't even say the next best, um, but yeah. So I think Josh Allen's the best option,
Yeah.
safest option, but probably the best option right now.
Well, I'm going to make things really simple for you. So you,
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about one of these spots. And I'm going to go with the Houston Texans defense.
yeah. I mean, anybody playing the Raiders, you're feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty good. They are dog trash. They're a terrible football team. Like it's beyond ugly. It's unwatchable, really. They can't play football right now. All right, let's go. I still have a flex. You still have a flex. Um, I know what you're gonna do.
Do you, though?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd put good money on it. So let me go to the see. It's tough. All right, I want 3 running backs.
Okay.
So I am going to keep the ball on the ground and take, even though pretty good defense, I think he's just on a roll right now, and I'm gonna ride it out with James Cook.
Okay. All right.
I
James
just
Cook it is.
I want the 3 running backs.
When you said you were
Running
going
backs
with
are
the
kind of
running back,
owning the league this year.
yeah, when you said you were going running back, I didn't think you were going for that running back.
Yeah, I know where you thought I was gonna go.
So you are full up on running backs.
Yep.
You are still needing wide receivers.
Yep. That's fine.
So do I totally take one of your wide receivers here? Um,
I mean, I got 3 that I like, so if whichever one you take, I'm good with. I'm gonna take one. I'm gonna take the other 2. So
yeah,
I'm not even worried about it.
yeah, that makes me kind of think a little bit more on what I want to do here
Mm-hmm.
because I think that changes my mindset slightly. Oh boy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna try to snipe you.
Go ahead. Uh, I don't think I don't think you know.
Surprisingly, I might, but I like this matchup, so I'm gonna go St. Brown.
He was one of the 3, but not the top one.
And this might have been a bad strategy for me because I'm actually probably losing out on somebody else that I want, but I'm trying to play the strategy game here.
Yeah. All right. Whale. I need 2 receivers and a defense and a kicker. You already picked defense and you're full on receiver. It's kind of no reason for me not to take a kicker, I guess, even though it's stupid. Um, duh. Give me who did I have last week? That was like, oh, Myers. But they're playing the Rams. Who's gonna kick a lot of field goals this week? Who is gonna kick a lot of field goals this week? Probably. I don't know. Give me. Fuck it. Give me. Sorry. Give me Will. Give me Will the Thrill. Give me Will Riker. I mean, I think that the Vikings are gonna be able to dog walk the Giants. So.
Okay. All right. Since you went that route, you are
Just
full up.
creepy kickers.
You still need a wide receiver. You still need
Two
a
wide receivers.
defense. 2 wide receivers and a defense is where you're at. I still need a quarterback. I need a flex. Or sorry, I need a running back is what I need.
Here, I'm writing.
And a kicker.
I'm writing down who you're gonna take for quarterback.
Are you though?
Now. Yep.
Can you hold it up after I pick?
Yep. It's right here.
I don't think you're going to get it right. And I feel terrible doing this because I really I kind of don't like this pick, but I do. And I'm just going to roll with it because I picked him number 2 because, these are my rankings, right? So, you know what? I put him at number 2. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts.
Oh, not who I thought you were going to put. I'm shocked.
Who did you have? Sorry, I missed it.
I'm shocked.
Stafford. Nope. I don't.
And the reason I'm shocked is because you took Nakua. Like that's the easy combo right there.
It is, but I think touchdown wise could be a little bit more interesting if Devontae Adams does not play, and that is a very real possibility. So he's a little bit lower in my rankings this week just because of that. Now, Jalen Hurts has been struggling, but I do like him in this matchup against. They need a win. They want to try to get a better positioning, and a bad Washington team. So I kind of like that. I like that mix. You're up.
All right. I think I'll go with wide receiver, and I'll take Nico Collins.
Okay. Also high on my list. I like that matchup against Las Vegas. Yeah, absolutely. He had a really good week last week. My only concerns I have with Nico Collins is he did not haul in a whole lot of receptions, but he did haul in 2 touchdowns off of those 3 receptions.
Right.
All right. Nico. All right. Since you did that, I still need a running back and I need a kicker. I kind of know where I want to go. So this is what I'm struggling with. I really want to take my number 4 in this,
which is Saquon.
He is not. Saquon is not in my top 7
against Washington.
Correct.
Of all teams. All right. Interesting.
Correct. I do have a.
You hate Saquon every week. You left him off your top 15 last week.
Yeah, I'm not a big Saquon guy. This year. So I'll be honest with you. I do have Jonathan Taylor at number 4.
Ew.
And I do think that, obviously for them to have success, they gotta give him the rock, but I do not like the quarterback situation there. And that makes it a little bit more risky.
Yeah.
Now at number 5,
they have to stop one guy.
Absolutely. But at number 5, I do have Chase Brown that's hanging out there. And I do like the matchup that they have this week. Chase Brown is going against Miami. And as we know, Miami has been historically bad this year at run defense. And that could be a potential monster game for Chase Brown.
Yeah. Brown over Barkley is insane.
So hold on. Oh yeah. This week against Miami, I like that. My other choice I have is going to be Christian McCaffrey going against Indianapolis. And I think there
Yeah,
could
yeah,
be favorable opportunities there
yeah.
because of what's going on at quarterback and maybe not moving the ball. So with that being said, I'm actually going to go with Christian McCaffrey this week.
Yeah, it's probably a good pick. That's probably the right pick. I mean, he didn't have an awesome week last week, but
He's always solid though. He's always
I
going to
don't
get his
know.
catches, even when he doesn't get the rushing yards. He usually gets the receptions. Now last week it
Yeah,
was the opposite.
yeah, no. The Colts are pretty demoralized right now, so should be a good pick. What do I have? Another receiver?
You, let's see.
Or do
I
I?
know you need a defense. I think that might be your last pick.
No, I think I need another receiver. All I picked was Nico, right? Yeah,
Yeah. No, you're right. You need a wide receiver. You get the last two picks, so you need a wide
yeah,
receiver and defense.
wide receiver and a defense.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to go
So do I
ahead.
go CeeDee Lamb or do I go JSN? I'm gonna take JSN. I know it's a tough matchup against the Rams, whatever. Seattle moves the ball on everyone, so
So the only reason I really kind of stayed away from JSN is just I don't know against this defense. It could be a decent game, but just Sam Darnold is capable of having those stinker games.
against the Rams.
So we'll see against some better defenses. He has some stinkers. Not saying that will for sure happen this week, but that is a
Yeah,
concern. Now, being that you did that, I just went ahead and typed in my kicker because you're not preventing me, and I took who I think is going to be number one this week, and it's close between Aubrey and Cameron Dicker. Dicker the kicker.
Dicker the kicker. All right, then I got to take a defense.
Correct.
I almost want to go Saints. The Jets are so bad, but I'm not going to.
Kind of want to
It's
look to see
hard. The
who I
way
have in my
Jacksonville's
charts
playing,
here.
it's really hard to go Denver. I think I'm gonna take. I think I'm just gonna go Philly.
Against Washington, that's not a
Philly.
bad pick at all.
Yeah, Washington's just that bad.
So it'll surprise you that I don't have Broncos in my top 15 this week.
It doesn't in your top 15.
In my top 15, I did not put the Broncos in this week.
I mean,
Now,
Jacksonville's been playing well, but it's in
I
Denver.
I hear you.
Jacksonville's traveling. It's mile high.
I hear you.
The weather
I'm
could be
just nervous
bad.
about that one.
Yeah, I think Denver should be in the top 15. Me
Yeah,
personally,
you're
in my
probably not wrong.
rankings, he will be.
You're probably not wrong.
No,
All right, so
stick to your
defense,
list. Tell
defense.
me I'm wrong.
Who'd you go with? Defense.
Philly against
Philly.
Washington.
Sorry, Eagles. All right. Well, that wraps up the ultimate lineup. I'll let that scroll across the bottom. All right, we're going to jump into the top 15 charts, and then we're going to quickly get into some of your guys' comments. And I see Jahang on there and on YouTube and TJPDX. I see you guys on there as well. So we'll go ahead and get to those, and let's go ahead and roll into our top 15. So before we do that, we should take a look at who's playing this week, right? So this week, who we have on the lineup, we got the Rams versus the Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. So that should be a really good game and a big one for fantasy owners. So if you're in the fantasy playoffs, there's probably someone with JSN, right? So we know that we have people with Puka Nakua, Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams. Those are all big players in the fantasy playoffs. And of course, Rams defense is good. Seahawks defense is good. Should be a good one. Saturday, there's two games, so you got to watch on your lineups that you're not thinking, hey, don't have to worry about until Sunday. Make sure you're paying attention because at 4 p.m. is the first game. Eagles at Commanders, then Packers at Bears. And then Sunday, you got the following. Everyone else is playing except for on Monday, San Fran versus the Colts. So Sunday you got Bills versus Cleveland, Chargers versus Cowboys, Chiefs, Titans, Bengals versus the Dolphins, Jets versus the Saints, Vikings versus the Giants, Buccaneers versus the Panthers, which this will be interesting when we get into, and I did it again when we get into our best bet segment, is I always lose whenever I'm betting anything that has to do with the Panthers. And I did it again this week. Jaguars versus the Broncos, Falcons versus the Cardinals, Steelers versus the Lions, Raiders versus the Texans, and the Patriots versus the Ravens. And like I said on Monday, that's the Niners and the Colts. All right. So that's what we have on our slate. We're going to go ahead and jump into our quarterback rankings for this week, week 16. Again, Josh Allen, told you he's my number one bat, run or quarterback. And, he doesn't just throw the ball, he runs the ball. He's always getting points, even when it looked like they were going to get a big L on them from the Patriots last week. Josh Allen, the Bills come roaring back, get the win. Uh, you can't count out Josh Allen having a great season. Jalen Hurts, again, against a Washington bad defense. Like I said, that's why he's as high on my list as he is. And they need this. They need this going into seeding for playoffs these last few weeks. Drake May versus Baltimore. I'd like that matchup for Drake May. I think Joe Burrow should be higher this week, but after the week he had last week, questionable, right?
He
But
seems checked out. I would put him even lower just because of that.
I hear you. But versus the matchup, he is probably going to have T. Higgins back. So I would love to say Joe Burrow checked in instead of checked out. He should be towards the top of this list at probably number 2 this week versus the Miami defense. But again, just what we saw last week was difficult to watch. Jared Goff versus Pittsburgh had a great week last week, and no reason to think that this isn't going to be one of those higher scoring games, at least in the 20s. And Dak Prescott versus the Chargers. I like Justin Herbert versus Dallas. Now, is the hand healthy? That kind of thing. We saw what JJ McCarthy and the Vikings were able to throw up 34. I got to think that Justin Herbert is able to throw up at least mid to high 20s on Dallas. CJ Stroud versus Las Vegas had a great week last week. Las Vegas has just been in shambles. And again, their defense should put them in good situations as well. So that's why Stroud is as high as he is. Lamar Jackson versus New England, Stafford versus Seattle. Seattle has a good defense. And with no Devontae Adams, that's why he's just on the edge of the top 10. Brock Purdy versus Indianapolis could be higher. But again, Indianapolis does have a good defense. It's just whether or not their offense puts them in difficult situations. Brissett versus Atlanta, Love versus Chicago, Mayfield versus Carolina, and then rounding out my top 15, we'll see if he can do it again against the 2-12 New York Giants. JJ McCarthy, who's had 2 solid, good fantasy weeks in a row. We'll see if he can do it a third for the fantasy quarterbacks. That is my top 15 for quarterbacks. Any thoughts, quick, that you have, Ryan?
Yeah, I just Trevor Lawrence has been playing really well. He I think is deserving of top 15 honors even against a really good defense. That's just how well he's been playing. He's been running the ball well, slinging the rock. And then JJ McCarthy. I don't know what's up. The Giants should have one of the best defenses in the NFL with the defensive line that they have, with Lawrence and Burns and Thibodeau and Carter. It's insane the amount of talent they have. They should be so much better. Having said that, they're not. And JJ McCarthy, I think, just because of his ability to run a touchdown in, should probably be a little higher. I would put him a little higher. That's, again, my opinion. But
absolutely. Getting into the running backs, you stole them. You did it to me. And I probably messed up with the route that I went, and I let Bijan get away. So Bijan Robinson is my number 1 at Arizona. I like Devon Achane versus that weak Cincinnati defense. And then Gibbs versus Pittsburgh. He usually has like this huge blow up game, like I said, and then he goes into a lull. But this could be another breakout game every other for him lately. Jonathan Taylor, they're gonna give him the rock. He's been in that valley, so he's been in a low spot right now. But I'd like to see him bounce back, and we'll see if their game plan changes a little bit with what they thought they had with Philip Rivers. Chase Brown versus Miami. I like that matchup for them. McCaffrey versus Indianapolis. Bucky Irving versus Carolina. This is a game that Tampa Bay has to have. Of course, Carolina, they're at home. They play well at home. But three-headed monster, wide receivers all back for Tampa Bay. Bucky Irving should get a lot of opportunities. They can't load the box on him. Saquon versus Washington is at number 8. Josh Jacobs in Chicago. Again, keep a watch on that one as far as how healthy he is. He was hobbling a little bit after this last game, but he's very confident that he plans on playing, and all indications is that he plays. So even though he did share a little bit more this last week, he was still really effective. So Travion Henderson had a good week last week, and he's playing Baltimore. So very well could have a good game again in my top 10. Cook versus Cleveland. It's a tough matchup. Buffalo can move the ball, so it is possible he's able to get in, sneak in for touchdowns. I just don't see him having one of his, 120, 140 yard type games that he typically does. Javonte Williams versus the Chargers. Derrick Henry versus New England. That's a tough matchup running the ball. I think Derrick Henry versus New England. But again, we saw last week he had 100 yards, but just, wasn't able to get into the end zone. Lamar Jackson, to see if he can break out of his struggling issues and how motivated is that Baltimore team right now. Quinshon Judkins versus Buffalo. Shadur, can you help extend drives? He had a great, had that 300-yard week, and then last week was an absolute disaster. We'll see if he bounces back in a game that they're probably going to have to try to play catch up against Buffalo. And then Omarion Hampton versus Dallas. I like this. I didn't love it because I just need to see him back healthy and having more games under his belt now that he's back, especially maybe sharing with Fidel. So I have him at 15. And Ryan, what do you think about this? What do you think about Omarion Hampton? Should he be
No,
higher?
I like Amarian against Dallas. Dallas's defense stinks. And Quinnen got hurt, so it just opens up even more rushing lanes for him. So yeah, no, he should have a good week. I'm glad you brought up the point that Derrick Henry's playing against a good run stopping defense this week.
Right.
Because another running back played that same good run stopping defense last week and had 22 carries for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns. That running back was your number 11 running back, James Cook, who you said is playing a good defense this week. And if you were to rank the top defenses in the NFL, you'd probably say Denver and Houston are like tied at 1 and 2. Well, when they played Houston, he had 17 carries for 116 yards and a touchdown. So 11 seems insulting for James Cook, in my opinion.
Okay. We will see.
Against Cleveland?
We will see. Against Cleveland. Cleveland does have a tough defense. And again, if Shadur is able to move the ball a little bit, Buffalo does have, it's an easier defense than when he faced last week. So we'll see what that looks like. Puka Nacua, he's my number 1 wide receiver this week versus Seattle with possibly no Devontae Adams, even if Devontae is on a limited snap count, if he's able to play. Puka was a monster last week, didn't find the end zone, but again, I think he's a really good play this week versus Seattle. This is a rivalry game and a must-win type game, trying to get in position so they can clinch the division over the Seahawks. Jamar Chase against Miami. See if it's a bounce back week. T. Higgins is supposed to be. It's a great matchup for Jamar Chase. It is, as long as Burrow is motivated, right? But even last week, we saw in the garbage time, Jamar Chase still had a great game last week. I did have St. Brown versus Pittsburgh. This seems like one of those games, and you're facing a Aaron Rodgers team that, up and down. I feel like Pittsburgh's still going to make it somewhat competitive to where they have to stay aggressive in this one. So I like St. Brown. JSN versus the Rams. I just feel like JSN is going to get his to an extent, but I just don't think he's going to blow up against the Rams. But that's probably a sore mistake. Uh, and we're talking number 4. He's still my number 4. He's just playing a real good defense. So it's not like I don't think he's going to have a good game. I do. I just don't think he's, better than the other 3 that I have this week. Nico versus Las Vegas. Again, could be sitting on a big one against the Las Vegas defense. Lad McConkey is who I thought you were going to go with. I think that's a sneaky good one against Dallas, because I think Dallas at home is going to. We saw last week, Brandon Aubrey had to kick 6 field goals and they still had 26 points, and he missed 2 of those. So I feel like in order to stay competitive and keep up with Dallas, they're going to have to score points. So I like Lad McConkey this week. Mike Evans had a great over 130 yards last week in his return against Carolina. I like him this week as well. Olave versus the Jets, I think, is a sneaky good one. Metcalf versus Detroit, they got to keep up. Metcalf had a good one last week. They're really going to need him this week. Lamb versus Jacksonville. And the only reason why Lamb's a little bit down is you just don't know which one's really going to go off between him and Pickens. And then A.J. Brown versus Washington. Rashee Rice with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I'm not as high as I would typically be with a Rashee Rice. And then Jalen Waddle versus Cincinnati. And for some reason, I put DK Metcalf on here twice. But this is my list. Any thoughts on the wide receivers?
No, the top top 5 wide receivers were actually the ones that we chose in
Absolutely.
ultimate lineup, so we were kind of on the same page there. The one that I was torn between when I said JSN was actually Chris Olave against the Jets.
I like that matchup.
Tyler Shugg has looked pretty good.
Right?
I kind of like him. And the Jets are, they just fired their defensive coordinator. They looked, atrocious. It was terrible last week. So
I think most people shucked off Tyler Shugg early off when he, got drafted, and they started with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and since Tyler's really kind of found himself, and he seems to be doing fairly well throwing the ball, a lot better than I think a lot of people projected him to do. So it's been a nice surprise, and he's developed a really nice chemistry with Chris Olave.
Your screen froze and your audio is kind of really messed up right now. I don't know if you can hear me okay.
I can hear you okay. It's probably because we got a storm coming through here right now. So
what?
We have a storm coming through right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're kind of okay. Well, with Steve just disconnecting, I will try to filibuster for a little bit until he can get back onto the live stream. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the Fantasy 15, we do appreciate everyone who's listening. I don't have access to the comments, so I can't go on and try to see and answer any of your questions quite yet, unless you ask them on X. So if you're on X, go ahead and tune in and ask the questions that you have. And anyway, we can go from there. But I think Steve's back and ready to give us his tight ends.
I apologize. We got a storm coming through where I'm at, and yeah, so that's maybe causing some complications. All right, Trey McBride's my number 1 tight end this week, followed by George Kittle. Yeah, Kittle's got a good matchup. Trey McBride.
We lost him again. Anyway, as we go through these, I'll just talk about the tight ends. And Trey McBride is obviously number 1 tight end. He just broke Travis Kelce's record for most consecutive 5-catch games. So he's obviously a number one tight end. It's almost a shoe in every week. George Kittle has a nice matchup against Indianapolis. Kyle Pitts versus Arizona, especially after coming off a massive week from the tight end position, and Kirk Cousins loves him. He's the number one in Atlanta right now. We'll see if Kirk Cousins can continue his dominance that he had against Tampa and carry it over to Arizona. Brock Bowers versus Houston, a tough defensive matchup. Brock is, they did say Geno Smith will be playing, so that's a plus. We lost the graphic. The rest of them we got here. I have them here. I can just kind of go through them. I just can't put the graphic up for y'all. We got Brock Bowers, and next was, please hold. And again, Houston's tough. After Brock Bowers, we got Darren Waller versus Cincinnati. Very favorable matchup, bad defense in Cincinnati. Darren Waller in Miami should have a pretty good game. And then we got Gadsden versus Dallas, was Steve's number 6 tight end. Dallas does tend to give up some yards to tight ends. Kobe Parkinson making an appearance for the Rams versus Seattle. He's had a couple of nice weeks now, and the Rams really love to run the 3 tight end sets. So he seems to be the favorite tight end there in LA. Harold Fannin Jr. versus Buffalo. Shador seems to love Harold Fannin. He targets him more than anyone else, so that should be good. Number 10 tight end is Dallas Goedert versus Washington. We'll see what Jalen Hurts can do. Jalen Hurts is Steve's number 2 quarterback, so we'll see if he's targeting Smith and AJ Brown and how much he's loving Goddard. Colson Loveland versus Green Bay. I think Green Bay is defense is definitely tough, but losing Micah Parsons, I think, is going to hurt him a lot, and it should open up some passing lanes, to be honest with you, because if the pass rush can't get there, then Loveland could have a pretty good game. Caleb Williams has been slinging the rock. Travis Kelce versus Tennessee. Who knows? This might be the last few games that Travis Kelce plays. I know he's got to play with Gardner Minshew instead of Patrick Mahomes, so that's quite the downgrade at quarterback. But what better way to put your backup quarterback in a decent position than getting the veteran tight end going? Mark Andrews versus New England. He's just Mark Andrews, so you got to put him in the top 15 every week. Tyler Warren versus Sam Fran. Tyler Warren, I like a lot, actually, because I don't think Phillip Rivers is capable of throwing anything further than 30 yards. So a lot of checkdowns to Tyler Warren. And then we got Dalton Kincaid versus Cleveland. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I did not know Dalton Kincaid was back. I thought he was out for the season, so that's a new one to me. I don't know if that's accurate and he meant Knox, but he is questionable and he could be returning. So yeah, if he's back in the lineup, that's huge for Buffalo. And if he does play this week, yeah, I like Dalton Kincaid in the top 15 because Josh Allen loves him. So that's the top 15 tight ends for Steve this week. And we'll throw the graphic back on once he gets back. There's a lot to think about this week when you're talking about injuries and matchups. And Steve's back. What's up, buddy?
I tell you what, I apologize. Just hopefully we're going to be good to go here going forward. All right.
I screenshotted your tight ends and ran through them. I don't know if you heard or listened at all. So
I wasn't able to, but I appreciate you taking over for that. So those are my tight ends, but one sneaky, two sneaky ones really. Harold Fannin Jr. Again, I talked about 14 different. He had 14 targets last week, so Shador is just peppering him. And against a Buffalo team that's going to run up the score, again, he caught 7 of those last week, but he's going to get heavy targets. And then Colby Parkinson. And I don't know why I did this twice. And I'm sure I was moving him around. And
Yeah.
yeah, but
No, I
Colby
noticed
Parkinson,
that. I
I
just
really
skipped
like him.
over it.
He's scored a
I s
touchdown in each of the last, except for one game, in like 5 of the last 6 games, he's scored at least one touchdown. So Colby Parkinson is really coming on for the Rams.
Mhm. Yeah,
Uh,
and
s-
Dalton Kincaid, if as long as he comes back, I know he's questionable right now, but,
mhm.
uh, that's massive for Buffalo as they roll into as they get ready for the playoffs because when they run those 2 tight end sets, I mean, they're pretty unstoppable.
Absolutely. Now, as we take a look at our kicker rankings, I have Cam Dicker. He's going against Dallas. I just think it's going to be one of those shootout type of games. So Brandon Aubrey's right there as well. He had 6 different attempts at field goals last week versus Minnesota. Can
Wake
the
me up when you
Chargers?
go to defenses.
Yeah, right. Can the Chargers hold Dallas to field goals? We'll see. I doubt they're going to hold them to 6 field goals like they did last week. Kylie Fairborn versus Las Vegas, Myers versus the Rams. I think Myers is still a good play. I know you were talking about him, but being that the Rams have a good defense, that they may force the Seahawks to kick a little bit more than they want. Borregales versus Baltimore, McLaughlin versus Carolina, Pinheiro versus Indianapolis. Other ones to watch: Jake Bates. I really like that matchup, and Little versus Denver. And then another one to watch down a little bit farther is Will Reichard, which you selected, and Boswell versus Detroit. Now, Will Reichard, I really like him as a kicker. I think he's one of the, this isn't just the homer in me. He's proven it by stats. He's one of the better kickers in the league. But one of the things that we've seen the last couple of weeks with JJ McCarthy and his play with the Vikings is the efficiency in the red zone. So does he get as many attempts as he has in the past? So we'll see with that. I like Boswell versus Detroit also. And a sneaky one just on the bottom there is Smythe for the Saints versus the Jets. And that's our kicker. So let's move on to defense so we can get re-engaged with Ryan a little bit more. And I have the Texans versus Las Vegas. That was a
Yeah.
big goose egg last week against the Eagles for Las Vegas, and now they get an even better defense that they have to go against, and they have to do it at Houston. So that's a tough one. Bills at Cleveland, Vikings at the Giants. I kind of like that matchup for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Now they did
It's just
lose
n no
2 big
Metellus
defensive
and no
players.
Grenard.
hmm So that is a little bit concerning, but I do like that matchup for them. They've they haven't had a passing touchdown in 5 games. 5 games they have not allowed a passing touchdown, so that's significant. Saints versus the Jets, which, we'll see what they're doing at quarterback. Eagles versus Washington, Niners versus Indianapolis. Philip Rivers, I mean, a lot of people pulling for him, but did not look good. Did not look good. Chiefs versus Tennessee, and you know, Tennessee is able to put some points on the board, whether it's in garbage time or whatnot, but they're going against Gardner Minshew too, which could allow more. Typically, I would have this matchup a little bit higher, especially if Patrick Mahomes was playing in this game, but he's not. Rams versus Seattle could be one of those stinker games for Sam Darnold. We'll see. He does not do well versus the Rams in that pass rush. So, just historically, whether it be with the Vikings or this year against them with the Seahawks. And then it's capable. JJ McCarthy is capable of having those games, so you have to keep in that consideration of the Giants as well. Um, and then just some other ones towards the bottom. I just didn't like, and we talked about it. I just didn't like the Broncos this week, and that's one of those games where I didn't like Lawrence. I didn't like the Broncos, and I just prefer this week to stay away from those players. That's a really good defense against a team that's really been explosive lately on offense. And somebody's got to lose in that one. So I know you talked about the Broncos already, that they should be
Yeah.
on this list. You're probably right. Just those 2 teams. You didn't see me pick Trevor Lawrence. You didn't see me pick the Broncos, and that was intentional.
I'm looking forward to that game, though.
Oh, that should be a really good game. Don't get me wrong. And I think the Broncos defense, they're obviously going to at times. They're gonna get to Trevor Lawrence. That's going to happen. But that offense, and I think just adding Jacoby Myers just added a totally different dynamic to that entire team. So he's kind of found his way as the new wide receiver one right now in Jacksonville. Brian Thomas Jr. Showed up a little bit last game, but again, Jacoby Myers has really been headlining that receiving core right now since he's came to Jacksonville. Any other thoughts that you got on defense?
No,
All right.
I'm pretty well set.
All right, let's go ahead and roll into some of your guys' comments. So Jahang on YouTube says, "Hi, who would you start? Need one tight end." And of course, I'm out of focus now again too. Need one tight end, one flex. Waller, Colby Parkinson, Ostrich, Estime, Jalen Coker, Rome, and Dunze. So while I'm fixing my camera and my focus, if you want to go ahead and take that one, Ryan.
Yeah. You need a tight end and a flex. I like Parkinson, I think, a little bit better this week. And then I really like what I've seen out of Coker now because he's really developed a nice rapport with Bryce Young and he's looked pretty good. Rome Adunze, I mean, it seems like he just can't stay on the field. Is he playing this week? Do we know for sure?
We don't, and
Yeah.
we don't.
And so I
Luther
would go,
Burden might be starting in his place.
yeah. So I think I would go Parkinson and Coker.
Yeah, I mean, you need one tight end, one flex. Jalen Coker really has came on. You could make an argument for starting Waller and Parkinson. If Odunze is playing, Odunze is in there. You got to play Odunze if he's actually playing. If he's on a snap count, that changes things. But Waller had 2 touchdowns last week, like I talked about before. 5 of the last 6 games, Parkinson's had a touchdown. And if there's no Devontae Adams this week, so watch that one. That means Colby Parkinson's going to get targeted even more.
We may not be given Audric estimate enough respect just because they're playing a really bad defense. I mean, that might actually be the flex right there because what do you call it? Neil is
Devin
out.
Neal. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, is he out? I think he's still questionable.
I think they ruled him out.
Did they today?
Yeah, I think they said he's not gonna play. Let me check. Yeah, they said he's out.
Sure. Yeah, but still, is he going to be the starter, or is he just gonna?
Well, I think it's gonna be him and golly, I can't even remember that other guy named Jem. It is a weird name. I know that. He'll miss at least one game, and that's this week. So they said.
But to me, out of this list, I think Coker's not a
Evan
bad
Hall.
option.
Evan Hall and Estime.
So, I mean, it's not a bad list to go with Jalen Coker. As we talked about earlier with this, when we start taking a look at the different matchups that we have out there. And let me just hide this for a second. They're going against Tampa Bay. Okay. So the over-under is 45.5 points. Tampa Bay is going to put up some points. So the Panthers are going to have to throw the ball if they want to keep up with this one. So that's why I like where Ryan's going with this one. I like Colby Parkinson and Jalen Coker as well, just because of the matchups. So that's where I'm at on that one. Jahang also says, do you like Burrow, Lamar, or Dak this week?
Probably Lamar.
So I would say Lamar is probably the safer one. Now, it should be Burrow with the matchup. Should be, and he may have T. Higgins back. It should be Burrow. But Dak has CeeDee Lamb and he's got Pickens. I think he rebounds this week. I actually like Dak.
Yeah, I go Lamar. It's just I know he hasn't been running the ball crazy a lot this season so much, but they're getting down to it where these games matter more a ton. Like they need this win, and I think he's gonna just really use his legs a lot this week. So I like Lamar.
Dallas has like a 1% chance of making the playoffs, so
Yeah.
they're in elimination mode.
Yeah, but
They gotta win.
As soon as the Eagles beat the Commanders on Saturday, their game's gonna
True,
be for nothing.
that is true. That's a good take. That's a good take too. So yeah, I mean that's something I didn't take into consideration. Taking a look at that schedule again. You're right on, Ryan. I mean, they're gonna play on Saturday, so how motivated is Dallas? It is a home game. Um, yeah, it's something to take into consideration for sure. So Lamar is where Ryan's going, and I like his theory, and I want to actually change based on Ryan's theory on that. But I'm still gonna say Dak is right there. I don't think he's just gonna hang it up and yeah, I don't think he's just gonna hang it up in there.
No, I don't
Uh,
either.
TJ PDX says, "Can I finally count on DJ Moore this week?" If Rome's not playing, absolutely, I think
I mean, yeah, I like DJ Moore this week, over Jacoby Myers, honestly, just because
against Denver.
that's just, I mean, he's gonna be matched up against Sertan, and that's gonna be tough. And again, there could be some. It's gonna be cold. Could be snowing in Denver, and
No Micah
they're
Parsons, so Caleb Williams should have a little bit
yeah,
more time to throw the ball.
yeah. No, I like DJ Moore this week.
So I'm on the same page. I like DJ Moore. Jacoby, not saying I don't like you. I just don't love you with the matchup. And Malachi says, "Yo," he's on YouTube
What
and
up,
says,
man?
"Hey guys, I'm in a 6-man league with the cousins, and I'm down as of round one. Could I send a pick or something of my team and y'all give suggestions? Thanks
Yeah, go
either
for it.
way. If you want to go ahead and send it to us on X, I'll go ahead and bring it up. So if you don't have our X, again, it's at fantasy15FB. So
Any
as we're doing this, just go ahead and send me a message, and Ryan and I will pull that up from X as we're going through these other questions as well. K Space on YouTube, full PPR pick, one receiver, one flex. So he's got Jones, Godwin, Dubes, Reed, Booty from New England, and Shakir with the Bills. One receiver, one flex. So Ryan, if you want to take this, I'm just going to jump in to see if he maybe sent that already.
That's kind of tough. I kind of like Romeo Dobbs this week because Christian Watson's out, and so I think he's going to get a lot of targets. So I would probably go. Hmm, yeah, I like Shakir a lot too. So for me, the receivers are between Romeo Dobbs and Shakir. So I actually Aaron Jones, it's still a pure split backfield with Mason. Mason tends to snipe a lot of the rushing touchdowns. So I think I would go Romeo Dobbs and Shakir. Those would be the wide receiver and flex for me out of that group.
I like Shakir as well. Instead of Dubes, I think I'm going to go Jaden Reed. Now this changes if Christian Watson is playing. He's questionable right now. Dubs
Yeah.
and Reed, it's a crapshoot with any Packers wide receiver this week. But if I had to pick out of that, I think I'm probably going to go Jaden Reed and Shakir. I like where you're going with Shakir on that.
Mhm.
Those are kind of the two that I'd rather go with. Aaron Jones again, sharing the backfield. Just here's my argument. So I had someone ask me this today. So I actually got a couple questions I should probably run through for some messages that I got. That I'll give you those individual questions as well too. But Aaron Jones, my problem is just when they get towards the red zone, the rock is going to Jordan Mason, not to Aaron Jones. So even though I
Or
like,
last week's CJ Ham. Like what the
yeah,
heck?
so I just don't think he's getting it in short field. So unless he's getting a passing touchdown, Aaron Jones just doesn't have the power to maybe get you the points that you think you need to maybe power you into the next round. And K Space says he's smashing the like button. I appreciate that.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man.
And if any of you guys out there, please smash that like and that subscribe button as well on X, YouTube, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, and Spotify. And
Mhm.
at top 5 KW on YouTube says half PPR, set the lineup, quarterback. He's got 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, tight ends, flex. All right, so we got to run this. We got to run down with this. And hold on, let me set that banner as well too. I got to
So
reset.
just take it position by position, starting
Yeah.
with quarterback, either Brock Purdy or Bo Nix. This week, Brock Purdy playing Monday night, and you got Bo Nix against what we've already talked about a whole bunch is the
Jacksonville.
Jaguars.
Yep.
So,
Here, I'm going to make this a little bit easier as we're going through that, and I'm going to pull up the matchups.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go. I think I'll go Purdy. Um,
I
on
don't
Monday
like how
Night
this is
Football.
hiding your face. Here, let's see if I can do this a little bit different. There we go. All right. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm going to go Purdy too. So let's go. We got 2 wide receivers we can pick. We can come back to the flex. Let's pick 2 wide receivers.
Michael Wilson and
So I don't know if Marv's going to be healthy. So I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm going to go with Michael Wilson as well.
it's just
Is
I
it going to
like
be
you know what
a
I
big
like
Abuka
Abuka.
game?
I mean, the thing is, Abuka he should have had like 2 touchdowns in the last game that were barely either overthrown or he dropped one. Um, Baker loves Abuka, and they're getting healthy, and they got to win this game. I mean, they just have to.
He does, but he's been
Well,
quiet lately.
it's either them or Carolina. You know, it's a Duke. Whoever goes 2-0, if anyone goes 2-0, they win the division, and because they play each other 2 out of the last 3 weeks. So,
Mhm.
I kind of look for him to have a big week. So I like Abuka.
So I'm gonna go a different way with you. So I'm gonna agree with you and disagree with you. So I'm gonna go with Michael Wilson as well, but I'm also gonna go with Sutton. Sutton had 113 yards this last week, and I just think with Buka sharing the ball with Mike Evans and Godwin, not saying he can't go off. There's just more targets there. At least Sutton's the true number 1. They don't even know who the number 2 is. It's probably going to be this week. So they had Patrick Wright kind of took over as the number 2. He's injured this week, and it's probably going to be Franklin again as the number 2. So Sutton is the clear number 1, at least for the Broncos. So I'll
Alright.
go with Sutton and Wilson.
All right, and then moving on to the running back position. I mean, for Bijan and A Chain those are the clear cut 2 that you have to start. Then, I mean, you're not disagreeing with me on that, right?
Nope.
You're not taking ETN. Okay.
End of
I
story.
yeah, that was pretty easy. Tight end wise, I mean, that's interesting. I like Parkinson. I like Kobe Parkinson a little bit over Tyler Warren this
I
week.
do.
It's just, I mean, Philip Rivers, he is who he is. It's just he's 44, grandpa. He can't move the ball a whole lot. I mean, he can't move around a whole lot. I don't
Mhm.
think they're really focusing on feeding Jonathan Taylor. There's not going to be all that many targets to go around. So
Right.
I think Parkinson's the play. And you heard Steve, he agrees. So the one flex, this is where it gets interesting because I really don't love ETN this week against that
But
vaunted
but I
Denver
don't like Brees
defense.
Hall either.
And I don't like Brees Hall either. And so I almost want to just say, like, hey, all right, then start Ibuka, start Wilson, and start Sutton.
I'm with
Um,
you.
I think that would be the way I would go.
That's kind of where I'm at now. If you don't want to go with all 3 receivers, then I would lean towards ETN.
I would too.
But
Yeah,
I hate starting him against Denver because that's
I
one of
do
those
too.
games
I
where
think it's going to be a sloppy game. I think I
yeah,
mean, sloppy as in it could be a football game, like just bad weather,
mhm.
grind it out, a, a, a
I told you I wanted to stay away
20
from
a
that game, right?
random score like a 22-18 style just looks
So,
like junk out
so
there.
someone's gonna have some stats in that game, but at the same time, like as you saw with my rankings, I'm almost flat staying away from that game
Yeah.
because of what type of game I think it's gonna be. And Ryan just said it, messy game.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm looking to see. I still don't see that message. So if you were going to send it in chat with that screenshot, yeah, you can go ahead and send it in YouTube in chat to see if. Just let me know if you're still going to send it. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and roll into best bets. Oh, sorry, I got one more. K Space says there's rumors Mason talking running back one from. Oh,
Taking
he
RB.
yeah. So he's talking
Jordan
about.
Mason.
Yeah, so he's going back to Aaron Jones.
I mean, I don't know. They the way they use Aaron Jones, he'll be the RB1.
They use them differently. I mean, think Gibbs and Montgomery.
They line him out at the slot at the X. They, you know, he is a good blocking back. Uh, he has a few more tools in his chest than Jordan Mason does. So for those reasons, he'll stay RB1.
Mhm.
But Mason is kind of that like, hey man, we need you to go get us 4 or 5 yards right now.
If you had to ask me which running back I like better for fantasy this year, I like Aaron Jones. But as far as like next year, if you're in a dynasty, you can't get
I
rid of
don't think.
Jordan Mason.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't. Jordan Mason will be there next year, but I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Jones is not. And I could see a Brees
Mhm.
Hall or a ETN being in that backfield unless they draft Jeremiah Love, but we'll see.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and roll into our best bets. This has been something that Ryan, yeah, you were on a hot streak. Last week wasn't a good one
Nope.
for you, and so rolling into this week, I think I was clawing back a little bit. I went 4-1. That was great. It got my record looking a little bit better. So we got even closer this week. Taking a look at this week's charts, I was able to go 3-2. And Atlanta versus Tampa Bay, I got the over, not by much, but I got the over in that one. Carolina versus the Saints, hey, I took the L. I thought the Panthers, and again, I talked about this. I don't bet the Panthers well. Um, Lions versus the Rams, I really thought the Lions, not necessarily did I think they were going to win it. I just thought it was going to be a closer game and they'd be able to cover. That wasn't the case. Dolphins versus Pittsburgh got the over there, and then Baltimore versus Cincy also got the over with them. So my record goes to 21-24, and it's looking a little bit better. I'm closer to 500. I was really hoping that I could at least just stay positive, and I did this week, going 3-2. Now, Ryan, this week, you want to go ahead and talk yours through? And we're
Yeah,
here to
no, it was a
support
rough
you.
week. I went 1-4. Which the Carolina New Orleans game, I think we were like a field goal away. So it was tight. I kind of thought it would be at just 40, felt pretty low. The Buffalo game looked really bad in the first quarter. And luckily they have Josh Allen, who's really, really good. Philly shut out the Raiders, so that didn't hit the over. I didn't need much out of them, but I got nothing. And then Cincinnati, that was just a bad pick. I don't know. I thought that all the talk with Joe Burrow, he would come storming back, but no, that was a shutout. That looked bad, and then we both lost on that Lions bet. I
Mhm.
don't know. In hindsight, looking back at it, I should have taken Panthers, or I should have taken the
Saints.
Saints with plus money against the Panthers, because anytime the Panthers are favorites, they lose.
Right? It's
It's
uh
like since 2021 or something crazy.
so you went 1-4 this week. It takes your record. You're still looking good at 24-20, and then you had that one draw, if you will, push. So this week, go ahead and talk through your best bets for week 16.
All right, I like Philly to cover against Washington. Did this line change? I thought it was 6.5.
You sent 7.5.
Oh,
So
I did.
I
Okay.
had changed it because I thought it had moved since I set it,
I
but it
I
was
like
6.5.
7.5. It was 6.5.
Yeah. It was 6.5 when I looked, but when you sent me 7.5, I had thought that it changed, so I
Might have
changed
just
it
been
on
my
mine.
fat finger.
Let's go back. Let me check on ESPN. Go through
Yeah,
your other
anyway.
ones, I'll
I, I
check here.
I'll take them either way. You know what? F it. Um, take Philly plus or Philly minus 7.5 at plus 120. There you go. And then you're getting a little extra money there. You know, you looked at me confused.
I'm just checking the line. I'll change
Gotcha.
it to whatever the line is.
It doesn't matter. Minnesota -3 against the Giants. Giants are bad. Minnesota's looked good last couple weeks. See if they keep it rolling. Might be a little bit of a homer pick, but I don't care. New England versus Baltimore. I mean, I just New England's a really good team, and you're getting plus money. I know it's on the road. I don't know. They've looked way better than Baltimore all year. I know they haven't played a crazy tough schedule, but they did take it to Buffalo in the first half last week, and frankly, probably should have held on and won that game. So I don't know. I think that they can at least, if not beat the Ravens, at least only lose by 1, 2, or 3. Denver +3. Crazy that Denver's +3 at home against Jacksonville. So I don't know. I think Denver wins that game. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem. Over 42.5 in Buffalo versus Cleveland. The Bills defense is kind of iffy. They're hit and miss. So I think the Browns can put up, 14 to 17 points, which should be enough for the Bills to score the rest. And so for that, I like the over.
I did go ahead and make that change. I just looked on ESPN. It's still 6.5, so I think you just fat fingered that. So I got
Yeah.
you back to that 6.5. Yeah. So I like your picks this week. We actually, or at least I think, somewhat thinking the same wavelength, at least on one of these teams, and that is the Minnesota Vikings. I really like where you're going with the Minnesota Vikings pick.
We
You
both
know,
take them. They're definitely going to get their ass kicked.
well, I'm high on them at least this week. They're kind of riding some momentum after that last one. But Cincinnati versus the Dolphins, I'm going to go ahead and take Cincinnati, hoping that we get a different Joe Burrow this week, and then Minnesota, like I said, over the Giants. I think they can cover that 3. Tampa Bay, I will be shocked, but to say the least. But I know you say Carolina plays really good at home, and
Really good at home.
if I get burnt on this one, I may not bet another Carolina Panthers game for these last couple of weeks after this. The Niners versus the Colts. I'm going to take the under. Um, I have real doubts about putting Philip Rivers back there, so I'm going to go ahead and take the under. And then the Falcons versus the Cardinals. I'm going to take the over on that one, and
Pretty
47
fun.
and a half. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I just you're you're hedging against the Panthers just constantly. They
Yeah,
keep burning you, and you're like, "I'm
they
gonna get
do.
them this time." But
They do keep burning me.
their trend is always the same: bet them as underdogs at home, and then bet against them when they're favorites, and you usually make money that way with them. So, and you do the opposite.
So I just noticed one thing when we did our ultimate lineup. I did not pick a tight end,
Oh
so I
well,
still have a tight end to pick. I forgot
you're
I have the
gonna
lice
take
pick, and I
Kittle.
did not. Am I though? I'm actually going to go Kyle Pitts. I'm going to hedge my bets that he maybe has another breakout, and um,
It'll be fun.
he's not going to have the week he had last week. But on the chance that he blows up, um, and has even a 20-point game, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts.
It's gonna be a Bijan game.
I think possibly as well, but I think they're still going to get him some more targets than maybe what he has been. I think Kirk really liked what he got last week, and I think he's going to go back to that well.
Cool.
So tight end Kyle Pitts. as we were just talking about Atlanta, I started thinking I didn't pick a tight end because I was eyeing Kyle Pitts to go with that one. But I do like George Kittle. George Kittle is probably has the best matchup for tight ends this week. Um, but it's nothing's better than the sure thing, which is Trey McBride. I don't see any other comments out there, and I did not see that message that was he was going to send me. So I apologize. I just didn't see it in there. But I appreciate everybody that was able to join tonight and send us your different sit starts. Congratulations. I'm guessing most of you that are sending those, that's because, hey, you're in the semifinals, right? You get the win this week. You get to go into championship week, which, you know, you're in the money. You win next week. Okay. And then if you lose in a lot of your leagues, at least third place is getting something, whether you're breaking even or getting a little bit extra. You should be in that third place game. So you still got a lot to play for. Uh, Ryan, do you got any tips before this week? Any big things to talk about?
No, I mean, just keep an eye on injuries, and we're at the time of year where a lot of teams are eliminated, and they start to sit guys who had some lingering stuff going on. So
Hmm.
just make sure you're staying on your p's and q's because there's always some weird stuff that happens.
We already talked about Roman Dunze being one of those. If he doesn't play, that has an uptick for not only DJ Moore, but also Luther Burden becomes playable, especially if he's in leagues maybe not on a roster because he hasn't been used all that much this year. So there is a possibility, depending on the type of league that you're in, that Luther Burden is maybe not picked up. Devontae Adams, he is dealing with a hamstring issue. That could mean a bigger uptick, not only for Puka Nakua, but also Kobe Parkinson. Lamar Jackson, I guess he's got like flu-like symptoms going on, but I would be shocked if he does not play in that game. And then just taking a look at some of the key injuries that we had last week is Christian Watson. So he's questionable to play, and if he doesn't, that means an uptick probably for Wicks, Dobbs, and also for Jaden Reed. So again, keep an eye on those ones. Christian Watson has been, really doing well for the Packers when he's playing. So someone's got to pick that up. And then Drake London, various injuries, Ricky Pearsall, Devon Vele. Those are other ones just to watch. And if they're not playing, Ricky Pearsall, if he's not in the lineup, that means more targets are coming the way of Juwan Jennings. Drake London, if he's not playing, hey, Kyle Pitts, maybe a little bit more, and even Bijan Robinson. Devon Vele, if he's not playing, Olave's already getting balls. He's definitely going to be put in positions to get targets without Vele. Anything else to add that maybe I missed injury wise?
No, I think we're good, man.
All right. Well, apologize for a little bit of I had a little bit of weather and going in and out. So appreciate you guys staying with us and staying locked into the Fantasy 15. This is semifinals. I want to wish you guys luck. Hopefully, you guys are all making in the championship round. But we'll see you next week, always the same time, Wednesdays at 9:30 p.m. Every Wednesday during the season. We're your source for fantasy football. This is the Fantasy 15. Good luck, everyone. From me and Ryan. Peace.